Am I the asshole for moving out because I don't want to help my boyfriend out with the rent? My boyfriend, 26 male, and I, 24 female, have been together for 3 years. We live in NYC and he makes over $200,000 per year, while I'm studying for my master's in social work and have no income. Right now I'm doing an unpaid, year-long internship 3 days per week, as well as classes 2 days per week. It's rare to get a paid internship in social work, plus internships are mandatory. I spend 12 hours every day either working, studying, commuting, or in class. My only free days are on weekends, so I have no time for a paid job. My mom helps me financially by paying for my MetroCard and healthcare expenses, but everything else I rely on loans. Before I moved in with my boyfriend, there was a roach infestation in my apartment, so I'd stay over at his place a lot. My lease was ending soon, so he asked me if I wanted to live with him. At first I joked with him that his living standards would go down since I can't afford a nice place, but he insisted on paying the rent until I finish grad school, then we would split the rent based on income. I originally wanted to live in a cheaper place in Queens or Brooklyn, but my boyfriend likes his current place and insisted I move in since he would be the one paying the rent. So I moved into his $5,000 per month luxury condo in the city this August. All of a sudden my boyfriend recently started asking me to pay half the rent, $2,500 per month. I was confused because he was the one who wanted to pay the rent in full. Apparently he was talking to his friends and they all think it's weird that I don't pay rent and that I was a gold digger. I let my boyfriend know that I can't afford $2,500 per month and he said I was leeching off of him, so I told him that he should find someone within his social class so he doesn't have to worry about a gold digger like me leeching off of him. I stayed at my friend's place for a few days while figuring out what to do. I called my mom about my situation and she is willing to help me out, but the maximum she can afford for rent is $800. I found some places in Queens within the price range, less than 15 minutes away from the city and a bus ride away from my school, so I went to check them out a couple days ago. I've been texting the landlord and my new roommates and I already signed the lease. I told my boyfriend about my new place and he got upset and asked me to stay. He said that he was willing to accept $800 per month instead of $2,500 per month if that's all I can afford, but I told him I don't want him changing his mind again and demanding more money from me in the future. He lived in this condo alone for several years, so it's not like he can't afford to live there without my help. I wouldn't mind splitting rent with him, but I would have to live in a more affordable place outside of Manhattan like I originally wanted. Apparently some of our mutual friends think I'm being unreasonable for moving out instead of talking to him and staying by paying the amount I can afford in rent, and that I shouldn't have let him pay my portion of the rent. Update. Yes, I did dump him. I blocked him and his idiot friends on everything. My friends also blocked him since he tried to contact me through them. I'm going to enjoy being single and never relying on a man financially ever again. Around he fucked, and out he found. Not the asshole. Oops, since I'm top comment I suppose I'm gonna actually add an opinion. It is refreshing to see someone just up and say, nope, that ain't gonna work, and then promptly exit the crappy situation and take care of things. The audacity to suddenly demand a cool $2,500, after you had an agreement, knowing you had previously suggested moving somewhere affordable and he insisted, because his friends hurt his ego while grossly insulting you, makes him seem weak-willed, thin-skinned, self-centered, kinda manipulative, and a terrible negotiator. Because now he's sat home alone with his sad face on that his girlfriend left, plus he's got no chance of getting a bit of rent for the place he probably can't afford, and no chance of lording it over you anymore, which it seems like he might have been inclined to do. Talk about a backfiring plan. Verily, my brethren. Yea, I say unto you, the girlfriend shall moveth out, and the boyfriend shall be cut off. Woe unto him. Not the asshole. They think you're being unreasonable? That's rich. He literally convinced you to move into his apartment, turning down your offers to find a cheaper place so you could contribute. The fact that his friends see you as a gold digger and don't appear to know the full story, the fact that you offered to pay and to find a cheaper place and he insisted otherwise, is also a red flag to me and makes me question how he talks about you to his friends. Definitely not the asshole, and I would question why you would want to date someone who is so easily influenced by his friends' uninformed opinions of you. SRSLY. He needed to tell his friends, you don't know her. She's not a gold digger. I'm the one who asked her to move in and that I would pay the rent until she finishes grad school. The fact that he didn't is probably cause he partially believes them. I'm with original poster. He moved the goalposts twice already and is messing with her life. She should keep her independence. I'm also guessing she has made up for not paying rent by doing things like cleaning, cooking, laundry, etc. Now boyfriend is going to have to do that shit for himself or hire a housekeeper. Lol. Not the asshole. This should be a time for you to reevaluate whether you even want to be with this dude. He's easily manipulated by his friends and goes back on his word pretty quickly. I'm just saying, this is how a cousin of mine ended up in a nearly 10-year abusive relationship. He started out loving her and then his friends talked shit about her and insisted she was cheating and he believed them and started getting more and more abusive based on nothing. She's out now, but it meant going through a mean divorce and coming out financially fucked because he'd insisted on constantly living beyond their means, so entangling the finances was a nightmare on its own. I luckily got out before 10 years, but my ex-BFS friend kept telling him I was cheating on him, with literally no basis in fact. And my boyfriend decided to believe him, and yeah, every time we got into a fight he'd throw these guys in my face that I went to college with and still talk to, cause you know, I have friends. Original poster. You are far from the being an 100% not the asshole, please protect yourself. I suggest right now, you do you boo boo and all guys trying to get in your way can F off. Cause also it's not fair that he basically made you move twice when you have so little free time to yourself. I suggest you take every free second to yourself, and none to him. You made the right call. He tried the old bait and switch. GTFO of there. This is the first flower in a red flag bouquet. Enjoy your new apartment and the peace of mind that comes with it. Not the asshole. Greater than this is the first flower in a red flag bouquet. I'm stealing this. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And why is he discussing finances with friends? Sounds like it's bros night, and it's talking shit about your partner and he got made fun of, which made him feel emasculated. He tried to reclaim his power only to turn around and realize now he can't get laid as easily or have a girlfriend around to take care of him. I'm sure he was well aware of the situation and okayed it from the get-go. He sounds like he just got insecure and is easily swayed by what other men think. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend has already proven that he's not trustworthy, and prone to changing his mind on things that you thought were settled. Get out, and leave him to commiserate with his rich friends. There's simply no point in talking to a person like that, since no stable arrangements can be made. This is the answer. Original poster. You've been with this guy for 3 years. Presumably you were looking at this with a long-term lens, and assumed he was on the same page about building a future together. One partner supporting the other through a degree program is pretty common, because people recognize that education will benefit them both long-term. Plus he offered. Turns out he's not interested in thinking about the long-term together, and he trusts and respects his friends more than you, to the point that he's willing to insult you to your face for the crime of making less money than he does. Cut your losses before you throw any more time away on this guy. Also, if he's already making $200,000 and she's gonna be a social work, she will never be able to pay dollar equally. Reminds me of my friends where the woman is a social worker and the guy makes over $100,000. He mostly just supports them both. Cause his income is much more. They are just a team. Very happy couple. 9 years together. You are absolutely not the asshole for making sure you have a place to live. TBH, calling you a gold digger sounds like a way to hold something over your head and make you feel indebted to him, and the fact that he's upset you actually won't be relying on him after all is very telling. He misled you on the situation and you did the smart thing by handling your own business. If he can't be happy with you unless you need him for a place to stay, but is also going to use that over your head, he's not a very nice person. Not the asshole. He changed the rules and now he's gaslighting you. You're a smart woman. Not the asshole. Also, his demand is super weird. He obviously knew your situation and your finances, so where did he think you were going to suddenly get 3.5k from to contribute each month? Be wary of this guy. You now know what he will be like in future situations where finances are involved. Yes. $3,500 is such an unreasonable demand that he can't possibly have thought that would be feasible. He was playing some kind of game, being disingenuous, playing hardball. Or he's just so clueless that he thinks people just have 3.5k a month just lying around. Just get rid of him. He must be completely out of touch with reality because of his wealth. Dating a rich person with little empathy or common sense sounds horrid to me. Not the asshole moving goalposts after you're moved in. Makes him talk. He thought moving you in would instill the sunk cost fallacy. You were smart for ignoring it. Strike one. His friends are shit talking you behind your back. What does he do? Do he stand up for you? No, he agrees with them. Strike 2. Unilaterally changing the terms. Not being clear again. Oh, I would have let you stay for $800 per month, surprise, he's blaming you again, for something he never communicated. Strike 3. Name calling, leeching, am I seeing any respect for you? You wanting to be treated with respect is not unreasonable. I think being accused of a gold digger would be it for me. You are smart to make arrangements quickly and I like your style that you didn't try to argue with him. Obviously money is a big deal to him and you won't be able to keep up with a social worker salary anyway. I would back away from this relationship. Not the asshole, he changed his mind once and he could change it again. Rethink your relationship. Rethink as in delete, boyfriend. NTA. Maybe this will let him learn not to let uninvolved third parties interfere with his relationship, and that he can't just make random demands. The fact he didn't put his friends back in their places and took it further with the leeching comment is proof enough that you don't need to live with him right now. It's time boyfriend grow up and deal with the consequences of his poor behavior. If it was just a matter of, after a few months he realizes the current situation isn't working for him and wants to revisit the conversation of whether original poster should pay rent, sure, fine, a little inconvenient for original poster but it's valid if he's not comfortable anymore. But not like this. Because not only has he let his friends talk him into being unhappy with aspects of his relationship he was previously fine with, he also goes straight to insulting original poster and being honestly really douchey and classist. So either he's too easily influenced by others, incapable of forming his own opinion, or he let his friends convince him of the things he secretly deep down has always thought. Either way, original poster deserves better. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Wow. Normally I would say you need to contribute something based on income. But in this case it's not an acceptable arrangement because of the way your boyfriend changed his mind and made unreasonable demands. Maybe he's not used to lower income women setting boundaries and maintaining them. Not the asshole. I wouldn't trust him that he's not going to change his mind on the $800 either, given that he insisted you move in with him for free, knowing you couldn't afford to pay, them suddenly started calling you names over it. Personally I'd be rethinking the relationship, but either way you're not tough for not living with him. Not the asshole, you need to look out for you. What is stopping this guy from changing his mind again? TBH, this is a huge red flag. Not the asshole, but truthfully if your boyfriend makes $200,000 per year he's barely affording his place and he's definitely living on an overextended lifestyle. How do I know this? I too have an apt in NYC and make, now, well over $200,000. Assuming he has not kids and other deductions, he takes home $4,800 every 2 weeks, or $9,600 per month. That's more than enough to live on, but he's spending at least one full paycheck on rent, plus other bills, plus just living in NYC. I currently earn around $250,000 plus and could not imagine paying that much for rent. I pay $2,300 in Queens for a luxury apt. That is the first thing that struck me. He is paying almost half his take-home pay in rent, utilities. I'm guessing he eats out a lot at nice places and lives check to check. Not the asshole. I think you are making the right choice here and have valid concerns. $3.5K is a substantial sum of money to put towards rent every month even for the average working person. If you moved in with him under the pretense that you wouldn't be paying rent as long as you were in your program, then it isn't right for him to turn around and expect you to contribute after you've moved in. Not the asshole. Be very concerned that instead of talking to you about something that bothered him, he talked to his friends and they convinced him you were a gold digger. That kind of behavior, turning out and letting himself be convinced you are the worst, TM, instead of discussing issues with you, tends to repeat itself. He's not secure enough to make his own decisions and stick with them. But it's not the amount that you can afford, original poster, it's the amount that your mother can afford, and that's not fair to her. Boyfriend offered his place to share with you, with him picking up all of the rent. He moved the goalposts on you. Listening to his friends was more important than you. Not the asshole. Calling her a gold digger was what would be the deal breaker for me. She wasn't asking for a deluxe apt in the sky. Not the asshole. You had an agreement and he let his friends pressure him into changing the agreement. I get why you don't want to risk him changing his mind again.